you're not logged in, probably.
So she keeps bringing up the same thing as she had before.
Are you on? That's okay. So you go to Safari.
Okay, we're live.
Okay.
Okay, we'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
What's Ken today?
Do we have to do something, or because Ken's not here? Okay, got it. Okay. Ken is sick, so he won't be here tonight. We don't have any recognition of visitors. Roll call.
Terry?
Here.
Whittlesey?
Here.
Fletcher? Gum?
Here.
Brock?
Here.
Meeting's called to order. Nothing under President's report since President's not here. Okay.
Okay.
Sean?
I have a few things to report. The first thing, I just wanted to thank everyone in the community. People here have been very nice, and I really appreciate the support from all over the place. It's been nice. In particular, I wanted to thank Matt Montgomery. He's been great in helping the transition from him leaving to a new superintendent coming in. It's been valuable. Personally, it's been valuable for me, but I think for the district's benefit, that's a very, very good thing. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Carpenter. He's been very helpful as well. So I appreciate that, and looking forward to the new school year. Next thing, very quickly, we'll talk about pay to participate. Mr. Carpenter and I, we've been talking about this quite a bit. The great thing that where I've been able to start early is that we've been able to tackle a lot of issues, and we have discussed pay to participate. Had a chance to look at the amount collected since really the mid 1990s, and then with the beginning of 2010, and how that's seeing that at first 2010 was $100 for the high school and $50 for the middle school. And then it grew over the years, and now it is that number has dropped to $150 and $75. After careful consideration, we're looking at maintaining pay to participate. We have promised, I understand that we have promised to be transparent in discussing pay to participate every year, so we thought it would be very important to start talking about that right away, and we do feel that it is necessary to continue with pay to participate for the upcoming school year, and we will revisit that again with the next summer. Next thing, a very simple thing, the Waterloo sign edition. I do have some information on that. It will be installed by mid-October on Northville Marble. Brandon's working on that, but it will be completed by mid-October. I'm going to stay on top of it and make sure it does get done. And that's all I have.
Do we have any, would they be the ones that would do the, if we wanted it blackened on the inside, would they be the ones that do that, or would we have somebody else do that?
I believe so. I've been playing, there's been a little bit of just leaving messages back and forth. I haven't spoken to anyone yet, but I do plan on making a connection with them and get the specifics down on that. But just talking to Mr. Montgomery, he explained to me that it wouldn't be done that way, but I'll talk to the company to make sure it's done that way.
Okay, I was just curious what was decided.
So the pay to play, we're not doing anything this year?
You can talk about it.
Okay.
Pay to play, we are continuing on as
it is.
Same amount as it has been. 150, 75 for middle school and high school. I'm sorry, high school and middle school. 30 for the high school clubs, 25 for the middle school clubs, and family cap of $750.
Mm-hmm. And we're just keeping it because we feel we still need it?
So the recommendation is, Sean.
That's Sean's recommendation, so then you discuss it after that.
I'm recommending we lower it again.
The recommendation is to keep it as is.
Right.
As you recall, we just transferred $24,000 into the athletic fund. And if you take a look at what the general fund expenses are per year, just strictly toward athletics, it's over $200,000 a year. And that doesn't even include transportation to and from athletic events that comes out of the general fund. So it's $200,000 plus.
I understand that, but the community doesn't understand we want to which obviously isn't gonna happen this year, try to eventually build a stadium project, and one of their major things is this participation to play.
Well,
I mean, I hear you guys saying the same, so I need feedback because,
My thoughts on it were, as far as the stadium project goes, was I'm one of the ones that worked for over a year on that stadium project, got it as low as we can, did everything we could for the community to make it a lowest price we possibly could, and it would be a fabulous facility. But the community did not step up to even
and I
offer to
understand
do
that.
anything.
And I understand that.
So at some point, I agree that if we were to have if we were to get the stadium, I personally, if we were to get a group together that was positive and fighting for it and wanted to help and lead it, then, and we got it passed, then I'd highly consider dropping pay to participate. But I'm not gonna drop it
Well, I'm not
and then
saying
have them,
drop
or lower it, and then have people turn around and say, well, we're not gonna vote for the stadium project either, because we have to be fiscally responsible. So we can't afford to put that stadium project on. So, and we have lowered it in the
And I
last
also
couple
looked at it
years.
as we brought it on, when we brought the levy and that passed, we did the participation to play. I was thinking if we're lowering it and we ever had to go back to the committee again and go through another levy, then we would once again have to bring that up again. I would see that being even out. Come on, Brian, you're the financial person
You
here.
mean as far as if a levy didn't pass to bring pay to participate
No, I'm just saying,
back up again?
last time we brought, how it worked was the levy passed and we did the participation to pay.
We lowered it.
Well, I thought we brought it in then.
No.
That's when, no?
No.
We brought it in
lowered
in
when
2010.
the levy passed.
Okay.
It was, yeah, in
We-
2012-13, it was $300 and $150. We
Yeah.
passed the levy, it dropped down to $200 and $100.
Because
Right.
that's what we told the voters, the community, that we were going to do that.
Well, actually, what we
right?
told them was the year and a half before that, if they passed it, we would think
Yeah.
about getting rid of it. Well, they didn't pass it for another year and a half. So at that point, we were relying on that money.
But too, what we need to, I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump in
No,
on your
you're good.
conversation, but you
No,
know,
you're fine.
It's our conversation.
Yeah.
the pay to participate, I know it is hard for a lot of people, but I think we need to get the word out there too. If you guys remember, there are the churches, there's people out there that's willing to help these students that can't do that. And a lot of the people I don't even think know that there are people out there willing to help, right? Aren't the churches?
Yeah,
some of them-
actually, we've never had someone, correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, but we have never had anyone who couldn't pay that didn't get it paid by someone. There's a couple groups out there that will pay. There's a scholarship at the Randolph Methodist Church. There's money coming in from the Atwater Methodist Church to that fund to help pay for someone who can't pay. So there are groups out there, and a lot of them are people that had kids in school, but now they don't have kids in school anymore, and they want to help out the kids. So they go through the superintendent, which will now be Sean and Todd, and there actually is a group out there that if they can't pay, the coaches tell the parents or the kids to talk to the board office, and they'll get it covered. So we haven't had anyone.
Do we know how
not
much money
play.
is in that? Do you know? How
I don't think they keep money in there. I think it's
Okay.
one of those where if they need it, they reach out. Correct, Todd?
Yes.
Okay,
Because we really can't keep money sitting there for that.
okay.
So it's
That's
just,
a good idea to be able to promote that. I'm sure there are
Because I
families
don't think,
who are in need.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people,
Yeah.
or they don't want to, they feel funny, I guess.
they don't, well, but the only person that knows about, the only ones that know about it are the superintendent and the treasurer. No, but we don't know anything about who they are. So as a
No,
board,
that's
we don't know.
not what I meant, I guess.
Yeah.
What I mean is, if there's a family out there that needs that help, maybe they don't feel comfortable calling and asking for it.
Right,
That could be too, you
Yeah.
know?
true.
But did
But usually the coaches know, don't
Did you know
they?
about that?
About what?
About that
About
funding
that
from-
program?
No, but I mean, I don't need it, but.
Well, I know, but whoever
I don't want you
asked-
guys thinking I'm coming to this because I need it down for myself. I only
No,
have
no,
one
no.
that plays sports.
No,
no,
I
no.
thought maybe you had somebody in particular.
No, I'm just what I hear people saying, and, you know, it
Oh,
was,
okay.
we dropped it last year and thought, you know, if we could drop it again, we would drop it again, and
Board members pay double, don't they?
exactly, but
Well, and I think the actual, what happened was, before you got on the board, it was being brought up at all different meetings, and so we agreed that we would bring it up every July and look at it again and review it again every July to see where we were. So, I think that the misconception is that this is so expensive because the club teams and all those kind of things, I mean, people are paying $500-600, sometimes $1,000 for one child to play in a club sport, and, you know, or to go somewhere else, and $150. I mean, it doesn't bring in a lot of money, but it brings in enough to cover a teacher.
no big,
So-
I mean, if Todd recommended that, then that's,
Well, he just gives us numbers, so, of course, Todd's gonna want all the money he can get.
No, I mean, it's not-
I just, before Matt left, he said that
It's
it
better
would-
for the
it-
numbers.
He didn't think it would hurt any to drop it down, so I thought, okay.
Oh,
we-
I didn't know he said that.
I mean, you
When I
can see
talked
the
to
dollar
them.
amounts associated.
I know.
With what we've done.
I think too, if you look at it historically, when we first started working on the levy, the first 7 times, I think, or whatever it was that didn't pass, we said, you know, at that point, we were trying to eliminate it. But then, every time you don't pass the levy, you miss your collections every year that goes on. So then, at the end, we said, when we passed the levy, it was just to maintain the program as it was. But we still went ahead and we reduced it essentially in half from what it was back before the levy. And I think, looking at the numbers, I mean, so, you know, we just, like Todd said, we just transferred 24,000 into the athletic fund last month, which is something we haven't had to do for many years, but still we had that's an increase for last year that we spent. So, I mean, to me, I think that,
So half of what we brought in from pay to participate went to supplement the athletic fund, basically.
Yeah, over.
overhead. So that's the only reason that, you know, you know, $150 per sport is, I mean, it's it's money, obviously.
And that's
but
what
it's-
pays the transportation, and, no?
Transportation down the general. Yeah, this would be.
It goes, well, it
This
could
would
go
be
towards
for
it,
general
yeah.
fund expenses. I guess they were just bringing it up in a different perspective that, you know, we transferred 24,000. So you could say 24,000 of the
Yeah.
36 went into the athletic fund, and the remainder defrayed transportation and other expenses associated with athletics.
Do you have the number on here, it's like 200 and what for athletics a year, not including transportation? 225?
Sure, however, Sean and I just looked at them today when we were putting this together. We spent over $200,000 just in salaries and benefits for athletic supplementals.
And right here, in 2012,
Yeah, I think that information might.
265
Yeah.
from 2012, for
Okay.
transportation, supplements, retirement, that's for all.
And when you're saying transportation, you're meaning when the wrestling goes to their wrestling matches, the football, because that was another subject I wanted to talk about. I noticed this year, the baseball and softball, most occasions went together. If they went to Rootstown, they both rode together, right? If not.
That's what we've been trying to do. Yes.
And then wrestling, I noticed, you know, we got 10 wrestlers, maybe 15 stretching it, going on a bus where we could put them in a van. And wouldn't that be cheaper?
We can't put that many children.
There's not even 15. There's probably 12.
I don't know.
What do the vans hold?
Yeah, I don't know what
I'm
the,
sorry?
What do the vans hold?
I think it can only be 6 or 7.
Oh, 7?
Is that all them vans hold?
By law, you can only put 6 or 7 in a van.
And we
Yeah.
have just one van, right?
No, we have.
we have two,
We
but
have
then
two
you would have to
vans.
pay 2 bus drivers.
Yeah.
So I guess,
If you go over a certain number, then they have to have their CDL to drop bus. If you put them on a van and don't exceed a certain number, then you just need van certification.
the one good thing is our wrestling coach has a CDL, so that's a benefit, but,
but he doesn't.
I know
He's not
soccer.
a driver.
Would you?
Unless the guy said he doesn't drive unless they're going
Yeah.
clear out of.
Well, yeah, that's a whole, that's a
So
whole
I
nother
think
issue.
that's one of
I mean,
the,
it's totally up-
I know soccer always rode together, even though everyone complained about it, but they did ride together because it saved money.
And I think it was only easy this year because we did not have a JV baseball team. We only had varsity, and they were able to go
what used
with.
to happen is typically, during the spring, the boys varsity and the girls JV seem to both play.
That's how it was
away.
this year.
And then the boys JV and the girls varsity played together, so they always rode together. Because the girls' games were always done so much quicker, and they were always waiting on the boys at the end of the day to go home. But I mean, so we've always done that kind of stuff. And
And we also limited how far,
at one time we did.
we have done that in the past, limited how far they could go. Like, we didn't want them going more than an hour and 15 minutes, I believe, to
I
anything.
think so, yeah, it was an hour and 15.
Yeah, I think it was an hour and 15 minutes. So that it, you know, if they did have to go together, or if we weren't spending money on busing to go further than that, and, I mean, we tried all kinds of stuff to save on transportation.
When you talk about the way this number's broken out, you have transportation. Does that transportation include the cost of the buses and the bus driver?
I believe we included mileage as well. That was back in 2010.
What page are you looking at?
That was back in 2010, where those numbers were
The
pretty
transportation stuff. No, it's not it. What page is
Page you're on
that?
there.
Where are you at, Brian? Halfway through?
About 5 or 6 in.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 7th page there.
Oh, I see it.
It
Okay.
says, you know, expenses for 2015 as a guide to project for, or 2011 to project for 2012. So that numbers aren't exactly right, but see down there, there's transportation. And
Yeah,
I wonder if that included the salary as well as the cost of the bus. And I think it does, because supplemental contracts would only be the supplemental contracts wouldn't include the pay for the bus drivers.
Right, I'd have to go back and check.
But
To
more
be
than likely.
100% sure, I can't say. This was back in 2010, these numbers. But I know in looking at the supplementals, again, this is 2010, looking at supplementals today just for academics, just the contracts, retirement, and Medicare exceed 200,000.
the golf takes a van and cross-country take a van, I believe.
Not always.
I don't know what sports
No.
take what, that's up to the transportation department
Yeah.
to determine.
I mean, I imagine if she's revamping and doing, she's looking at that too, right? I would hope.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, I would think.
I mean, if not, she needs to, because that's, I think,
Yeah.
a big money spender right there.
Can you check with that?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say.
The cheerleaders ride with the football team or the band.
Just cross-country, even, I mean, a vamp of all of it, really.
Just if they can.
When they can. Yeah.
'Cause I'm pretty sure the golf, if it's a home meet, they just drive there themselves. I don't think they come here and, I think, but I can't, that's the way it used to be, I don't know.
Brian's mind's going, look at him.
So, my job is to provide numbers. I've provided numbers for you for the last 4 years, so whatever direction the board wants to go, it's fine. Just that our recommendation was to keep it as is, but it's totally your decision.
So basically, you could take, if we did want to adjust it, you could give us those numbers next month if we did. I personally do
Well,
not.
I mean, the
but-
numbers are already there. I mean, you know, you lower it down to 100, and you might as well take down 20,000 off.
Okay.
If you take it to 100, you're back to the, you know, back to 2000.
Oh, okay.
10, 11.
You're right. Okay, go to the top number.
Well, are we, I mean, have we seen has enrollment or participation dropped as far as the numbers?
Participation has been about the same. Like, you know what I've noticed is
Yeah.
it's dropped have been, and I don't know if that plays into this, but the gates, they've dropped over the last 4 years. And I just saw that from the booster meeting the other night.
Mhm.
That hurts.
That what dropped?
The
People coming.
gates, you know.
Is it for all sports, the gates have dropped, or is it, I mean, there are two primary sports.
But I read basketball and football and both sports, boys basketball. And football.
Boys and girls basketball, football, and then.
It drops steadily over the last 4 years.
It's in the packet I gave you last month on the athletics, it's all in there.
I just know from looking, I know football last year had a JV team, a very small JV team. This year, they gonna have a JV team maybe, and it's gonna be very small. Baseball, they had a JV team last year. It was very small. This year, they did not have one.
But I don't think that's, personally, I'm constantly asking that question. And it's not because of pay to
No,
participate.
and it'll never be paid. We have, like you said, funding.
Well, I
That's
just
not
think
my
it's-
issue that it's,
yeah.
that's not my issue that I know there's funding out there.
Mhm.
The participation hasn't changed much. I know we're going back some time here, but there's been about the same numbers from year to year.
I mean, we went from having a possibly girls and boys soccer team to now we're just gonna have a boys soccer team and a girls soccer team.
We're not
It
having
was-
a girls team?
No, we are. We should, I mean, I'm hoping we do, but
I-
before it was gonna
that'd
be
be hard to
co-ed
change.
because they
Yeah.
didn't have enough players.
Yeah.
Well, you look at it too, generally speaking, like track, how many track kids do we have this year?
There's always under 10, isn't there?
You know, when years ago, not that many years ago, we had a full track team. Same thing with cross country. I think the last couple of years we've had like less, we didn't even have a full team. So, and as well as.
When you say many years ago, are we?
Oh, we're talking
5.
6 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had, I mean, yeah, it just seems like, and I don't know why that is.
Some of it's, the cyclical. I mean, hopefully.
Do you think it's because, most track people, our track team, and I hear like the Miller girl, they talk about sometimes, we don't have a track for them to practice on, so it's hard for them to maintain. They do it, but it's definitely difficult when they're doing it on what we have, and then they're going to the facilities, which that's out of
They've always said
our,
that.
I know, I mean,
Yeah.
and it's true.
It is
Unfortunately,
true.
It's true.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, I think that, a lot of it is just kids aren't as active as they used to be.
No, I agree. I
I
think they're
agree.
more
I think that's
sedentary.
the bottom
I
line
think this
is
has
that,
taken
yeah,
over.
Phones and computers and Nintendos and PlayStations and all that.
I really
stuff
do too.
Is just,
Well, and speaking, on that same note, from what I understand, we do have a coach for cross-country, a new coach, different coach for cross-country, and he's working on it. From what I understand, we've only had 2 at the practices. And we talked about it, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, where we had minimum numbers that if they got below that, we weren't going to pay the supplemental. Do we need to look at that again?
we should be looking.
I mean,
at that.
we need to finish this conversation, but just don't let me forget that.
Yeah, we need to,
You are so clear on that. You mean to remove the sport or?
Well, or, I don't know, can you reduce the amount of the supplemental?
that's part,
That's a tough one, because they're
Well,
gonna
once you
spend
lose it, we
almost,
talked about that the other night,
right,
that's fine.
once you lose it, but, gosh, you hate to,
Are we looking to eliminate a sport, or are we looking more at the JV teams, if we didn't have enough?
well, cross-country, that's the problem, is there's tons of middle school kids that wanna run cross-country. It's just, we have 2 showing up for the high school team, so you don't wanna get rid of the sport, because clearly you've got kids coming up.
Right.
The coach, it's a new coach now.
It is, Kevin.
that's Kevin, the girls
Okay,
basketball.
and I hear. he
Greg
did a
Dugan
very
has
good
been the
job
coach for many
recruiting.
years,
I like
yeah,
him, yeah.
yeah. They say he's
A lot of
really
that,
good.
I mean, a lot of it, because of the phones and all the stuff that kids, the recruiting plays a big role. And if he's good at that, then,
Yeah.
maybe he can turn it around or at least get more participation.
Yeah.
I hate to lose that.
And that's another thing that made me bring up the participation to pay last month, was we have JV teams that are paying this price. Granted, they know they're not getting that spot on varsity, but yet they're still just sitting, not playing one game, maybe getting to run or bat once, because the coach is just doing that to be doing it, but they're not playing any. And they're paying that price because if there was a JV team, they would be that JV player. but there was no JV team, so they're sitting, but yet they're playing that full. So that's another, I mean, that's what I hear parents, you know, they're not complaining, like me, I didn't complain last year. My son played football, but he, you know, sometimes played on varsity, but not much. But that was the price I know I was paying. They don't
Yeah,
do that, they
unfortunately-
don't do that
so
when they
many
go.
different
I
ways
say,
to
unfortunately,
the-
my kid did it whenever it was $300 and
yeah.
sat on.
I paid the money
So-
too. My daughter got hurt for like 2 years in a row. It's
I
like,
mean,
Yeah.
injuries are different, I understand that, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like you know,
Yeah,
baseball, they
I
have
get
a
it.
team, they played before they, I mean, they paid before they knew that there's not even gonna be a JV team to get in there, and they're like 1-2 players shy of making a JV team. So then they don't, so I think that's a bigger picture of it too.
Well, and I do think we need to remind the coaches, we need to tell Tom to remind the coaches that those programs are there. If there are kids, because that's usually who they'll come to. They'll come to a coach before they'll call the board office, you know, and say, you know, I'm not playing, or, you know, especially like if he's hitting the pavement trying to find kids, he needs to know that there is a program that they're saying I can't afford to do 2 sports, or if I need to, you know, that, then, no, do we have a cap on it?
$750 family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have, if they do 2 sports in the same season? Anything? Okay.
same thing.
Okay, well, it's up to you guys. I personally think we should just leave it where it's at, but that's just because I'm a little annoyed
What do
that
you think?
And I'm
no
annoyed
one's
with that
stepping
too,
forward.
but.
Yeah, I think we should
Because,
just.
I mean, yes, we keep giving and giving and giving and keep cutting and cutting and cutting, and then when we put something out there that's gonna be great for the community, and it's not gonna cost that, heck, it's gonna cost less than it would cost for a sport, for a $100,000 home, for someone to put a stadium up, and they're not willing to do it. I don't think this, personally, I don't, but I'm just one vote, so you guys can decide.
I agree. I think that we should keep it where it's at. And when we look at, you know, making our levy last is based on, was really based on the $300. And here we are, we've cut it in half, essentially. And
And we're already out another year, we're going out another year,
we're
so.
trying to keep
Because that's really the job, what we're supposed to be doing.
extending,
Right.
you know, so I mean, and trying to balance everything with, you know, academic programs, athletic programs, you know, all that stuff. I think that we need to, 150 is, well, that's a lot of money. I know that there's schools in Parma, all the Parma City schools, they pay the complete cost of a sporting event. So if you play a sport, for instance, baseball is the one I'm most familiar with. I know the coach up there, that you play there, and if that program costs $5,000 to run and there's 20 players, they divide 5,000 by 20, and that's what they pay. And that's, you know, that's the way, I mean, so.
I'm pretty sure is it Barberton that pays $1,000 pay to participate? Somewhere out that way.
We put a list, there's a list in that packet.
I mean, the thing
Yeah,
is,
this is all our
the other thing
local
is
that we
that
play.
there's the opportunity for the coaches to do fundraising and things
Right.
to offset that. I know one year the football team used to deliver mulch, remember?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because I asked if
They couldn't get enough people to help
They're
this
doing a
year.
pizza roll, which I think is gonna bring them in, it's not gonna, them fundraisers ain't made to break the bank, they're made
You
to
know
just.
what? That fundraiser that Ritztown does up there, right now, it's going on, that sausage sandwich one. They make so much money
Well,
off
we're
of that.
doing the
We need to
pizza
do
roll
something like
one where
that.
you, I mean, I think we pay $1 for them, I'm not 100% sure. Your sister would know more probably. But it's, you know, we can sell them $2 a piece, and that, you know, I know 4-H did it, and they made a
I didn't know
nice
anything
penny
about
for
it.
it. Well, they
My
haven't
friend-
Are
started
they
it yet.
frozen?
Oh.
They're frozen?
No, they're actually fresh, and you can freeze them. They don't
What-
come frozen, they're fresh, and then you can
Make
freeze
sure you
them.
call us when those come in.
Yeah, I could use a sample right now. I didn't
But,
suffer.
I mean, that's the other thing that's in there, is I think there's
Yeah.
opportunity to do some fun, you know, for
You know, in some schools, I'll tell you, some schools seem to do we talked about that, you know, that they're not paid to play necessarily, but they fundraise to death at every sport, and we have kids constantly going door to door asking the same group of people for more and more money. So I mean, so they're not paid to play, but
Yeah,
they're,
somebody's paying for it.
yeah, somebody's paying for it, and I don't know what what is better.
And I like this pizza roll thing because a lot of times, like your Waterloo, my dad will get a shirt, but in reality, he lives in green and my sister and the kids live with him. They are green. He's not wearing Waterloo around, he's wearing green Bulldog. So if I go there, he's like, oh, I'll take a hat. I'm like, okay. If I go with some pizza rolls,
Yeah.
he's ready to give the bank out.
True, it's not
So I
limited to
think
just
this would
our
be-
community, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So I think we're gonna keep the participation fee as it is that what we kind of decided? That work?
That's where you guys are at, yes.
That's what it sounds like, consensus is. Yeah. Should we wait? Well, we can talk about it under new business,
That's all I had.
the other.
My section's short tonight. We're just returning the advances that we approved last fiscal year, last month. Those advances are going back to the general fund.
Okay. Diane, anything for Maplewood?
I just see on the agenda, it needs to say from drama to general fund. So those are in reverse. I'll make the correction on the minutes, I just noticed that.
Oh, these two need to be flip-flopped?
But those will be going back to the general fund.
Oh, okay.
And then the creation of the class of 2019, just to get those accounts on the book so they can do their fundraisers and necessary things that they do for the class of 2019.
Todd, I noticed, speaking of the class of, when I was looking at the treasurer's report, there's balances still open. How long do we keep those balances open, or what do we do with that money? Like, there's stuff open from 2011.
Before we change policy in regards to that, we can close those out now if there's any remaining balances in there. But we felt that the money that was in there prior to the board making that change, that money stays there. So those classes do come back and use that for reunions and things of that nature. But moving forward, we should eliminate having those out there.
Do they know that money's there? Like, does the
Yes.
president of the class know that money's there? Okay.
That's what I have.
Okay, thanks. Diane, anything for Maplewood?
Well, no, since we just had our meeting. The meeting's not until next Thursday,
Right.
so I'll have information next meeting.
Okay. And legislative update?
The only thing I have is, and I've seen it on Facebook a lot about the park testing, there's a lot of people that believe out there that it is completely done and wiped away. It's not completely developed yet, and it's hoped to be back in the year 2015, next year, this year coming, at their regular testing time, and it'll still have the PBA and EOY. It'll be given during the same time, but closer to the end of the year rather than early February and March. So it's still in that, it's still there. I noticed Facebook, a lot of people were, yay, park is done. I think it's more frustrating that we have worked so hard for this park testing, for all these glitches there's still glitches in the park testing, that it's not 100% park testing this year.
So they're moving it back so that they have more time to prepare for the test?
I don't think they're moving it back, they're still giving it.
No, I mean,
Right,
like,
the company's
instead of
gonna-
February and March, now it's gonna be
Right.
later?
It's gonna
Oh,
be
yeah, I thought you
later.
meant.
No, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna be one of those things we're preparing from the day we start school till the testing. It'll actually be we'll still prepare for it, but it'll be given later
Yeah.
versus the early.
So I did want to ask about, I'm glad you brought that up, park testing. So we are not doing park testing this year?
That's correct. In fact, it's going to AIR, which,
That's it, air.
and this is an informal survey, just talking to kids who participated in that. The AIR was much easier to work with for online testing. It was much easier, even on paper and pencil. With the park, it was just too much, and the level of difficulty was very high
I
as
think the
well.
math
Is it
in,
AIR?
trying to look it up.
AIR, and it's an
Yeah.
acronym for something.
Everything.
I don't remember what it is. But it's a little bit more, doable, student friendly. It's not going to frustrate students to the level that we saw at Park, which that's a good thing. I'm very happy that that decision was made. But you're right. I mean, if people are thinking we're not having testing, that's not correct.
It'll still have the performance-based assessment and the end-of-the-year assessment on what they're doing.
But just one for each
Yeah.
and not a bunch of times. So
Okay.
that's a very good thing. That was very frustrating.
I think too, though, that last year, we spent the last year and a half going crazy, preparing for the park test. and
Well, I
all
mean,
that
even the
stuff.
people here that,
So that we could get, so we could do, we were one of the schools that did them all completely online, and I guess there was options to do that. I would suggest with this air test, that we don't drive ourselves completely
Go
batty
hog
with
wild.
resources to make sure, because we went through all that energy, and shame on the state.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good news is they recognized the test wasn't the right test and they changed it. But the bad news is that we wasted a lot of manpower getting ready and doing the park. So let's walk into the air as far, because who knows, next year they could change again and we spend a ton of resources and drive, on all that stuff, getting ready for this air test. So if we can do it
Isn't that
not
American
online
Institute
and get away with that,
So,
if we can do it, not online and get away with that, I think that, I just don't think we need to
the air
jump.
is American Institute research, if I'm not mistaken.
and the good news, and here's the good news with that. We were tested with science and social studies with the air, so we have been exposed to it as far as somewhat the level of difficulty for English and math. My hope is that it'll be in that same area of difficulty, and it won't. Yeah, whether we do it online or we do it on paper, we won't be knocking students out with it. It was very, very frustrating for them. I know that.
To our credit, we did it all online, the park and all that stuff, but there was, Lori and the counselors and everybody and all the staff, it was just learning. I know that in the primary school, they spent a lot of energy just learning how to manipulate the test
Right.
and how to use the pointers and the this and the that, and there's little calculators and things like that,
Right.
to use that in the test. They spent a lot of time,
Right.
and that's just,
Well, the good news is now they know how to do that.
right, but
And so if this is similar, then that's good. But the bad news is it came on the heels of the third grade reading guarantee, which we were all jumping hoops through for that. So we have just been, it seems like we haven't had a moment's peace between the third grade reading guarantee, the teacher evaluations, the park test. It's just been overwhelming. And I think we've done, we've risen to the challenge, but it would be nice to just be able to take a breath of fresh air for.
well, I'd like to have the staff using all that extra energy that they put into some test that lasted 1 year into the classroom.
Being creative
We've only got
and,
so much
yeah,
energy.
letting the kids like to learn and,
Right.
yeah.
I'd like to see
Let's
Wouldn't
get
that
back
be
to
nice
that.
have them,
Yeah.
It would be
and that's
great
what they
to get
wanna
back
do.
to that,
You know,
yeah.
that's the good-
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I think you find, and I've talked to some of the newer teachers here and at other school districts and the younger ones that are, they might have been teaching for the next, like 3 or 4 or 5 years. And that's frustrating for them because, when they grew up, they had all different creativity in their classrooms. The teachers were fun. The teachers were, it wasn't just for the test. And I think a lot of them are getting really frustrated because it's just, hammer, and so it would be nice to not have that.
Well, the last couple of years with SLOs and the OTES and park and I guess air and all these things, it has been until I have a sense, it feels like, okay, we're over that hump and now we can get back to working with kids and getting them to learn and do the things they need to do to get them to learn. So that's pretty exciting.
Mhm.
It's pretty
Hopefully
cool.
no one will change their mind again in Columbus.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, you know how that is.
Okay, anything else, Vicki?
Nope.
Okay, anything under new business?
Just a couple, one item, I guess it's going to dovetail off into a few. We're all using Dropbox with various levels of success.
Knowledge.
Success and so on. I talked
I don't know
I
how
talked
long.
to, I talked to Beth this week, and she said a couple things. One thing she said is if we wanted her to be here at a board meeting a half hour early and spend time with somebody or whatever, she'd be willing to do that. But the other thing is, and I know Lisa added some stuff to to our folder, if you will. And she said she has no problem if we want to start letting her know to add. The nice thing about when she adds it, I get an email that says, she's added something to the folder.
Beth?
Yeah. Now-
Yeah, well, when I added it, I didn't realize when I added, everybody else sees it. I like that, but I had no clue.
Well,
So,
And that's great, so, but.
all I kept thinking was, if I don't have internet, I need to be able to get to the handbook whenever we're sitting here. I want to be able to get to the newsletter when we're sitting here. If for some reason the internet wasn't working, I kept thinking, how am I going to do that so that I can look at that while we're sitting here without internet? So,
I think, so if we have things we want her to put in there, we may want to
yeah.
let her know that she's willing to put, I mean,
Yeah,
there's some
sorry.
things in there now, but I mean,
I didn't
she's certainly
know.
willing to do all that.
I didn't realize it went to everything.
So
So it's kind of like an
bring that up.
intranet is what it's kind of like the old intranet.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
showing my age, but yes, so it's like the old intranet where whenever you go in, you can't delete anything, but you can add stuff in, and the stuff that you do saves, and then everybody can see it. Okay.
and if you wanted to add it, I don't know if you can make a personal folder or not, I'm not sure. I've never done it with a big shared network like this.
I don't know, because I know my, one of my motor sergeants sent me something. I don't know if you guys seen it.
Through
It came
Dropbox?
Well, it came through Dropbox. He sent it to me through Dropbox to open. I thought, why is he sending this to me? I'm not opening up a third Dropbox to satisfy the Army. So I clicked it over into this one thinking, okay, I can open it. Well, it showed up on mine, but I couldn't open it. It just, was titled what I wanted. I thought, oh crap, I hope everybody's not seeing
No.
this now. And I deleted it. That's why you made me nervous when you said that everybody's seeing it. I was like, oh, great. I'm putting classified information
I
through
know.
our Dropbox.
It could be tempting.
Oh, we know what's going on in the military there.
I did. I panicked. I had to call Jesse. He was at his girlfriend's house. I said, I need you to come home. I said, because I need you to delete this.
You saved it to your AOL account instead, right?
We don't,
That confidential.
you mean, I usually don't even print it, but it was one of those things I needed right then because we're in the process, I'm supposed to leave next week. I'm like, where?
Yeah.
I don't even know when, what, where, how, who. So I thought I'd put it in Dropbox and open it.
Oh, that's right, you're supposed to be, I thought you were gone this week.
No, I was
Okay.
supposed to be gone in June and
Oh,
I left for
okay.
3
That's
days
right,
and then I
that's
got involuntary transferred. So now I'm leaving next week for 3 weeks. I'll be back for
Is that
next
right?
month.
Yeah.
We can,
Okay,
so anyhow, if you want
Yeah.
something put on there, let her know. And then, because the stuff that Lisa put in isn't in a month, it's in the general information part.
yeah.
So-
I mean, do we need to have
Do we wanna put it
Do we need to have
somewhere?
a session where we, have her or someone come through and walk us all
Possibly.
through that?
I think it'd be, it's some one of those things that
Something
they
to
could
think
meet,
about.
they could meet a half hour before the meeting, because
Okay,
our audience doesn't want to sit here and watch us get to it. And-
No,
okay.
and we won't want that to come later.
Nobody, you got it.
Anybody else have anything under new business? I have one thing. I've gotten a lot of complaints about this, and we just need to talk through it. Supposedly band camp is from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and they're not allowed to leave to go to sports. We've never had that before. And part of band camp, I get that they want them there, but part of band camp is, what they're saying is, they're gonna show movies and do activities, and I'm like, do we need to do something about that? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but
Your dates and all, and so it's
I
9
think
a.m.
it's
to
the
9
first week of August, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
And it goes every day until school starts?
No, I think it's just 1 week.
1 week.
Probably 1 week.
Am I right? But that's the first week of mandatory practices, and we're not that kind of a school. We've had kids in football uniforms at halftime marching in the band. We just aren't. I mean, we have kids that are playing soccer and running cross country. We have kids that are playing soccer and kicking the football on the field. I mean, we have kids that are. And we have lots of kids that are in band and sports. So somehow we have to, I don't know. Do you guys agree with me?
If that's the way it is, I agree. So I guess maybe you should look into it.
Yeah.
Take care of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just something that, and I said I would mention it tonight,
Okay.
so that's why I'm mentioning it tonight,
That's,
because
that's
it should be.
Especially in sports where they mandatory, it's frowned on. when
Well, it's
they're
just
not.
hard, because,
Yeah.
I mean, the kids, the coaches will say, it's mandatory, and then band is a class, so it's part of their grade, and you want a good band, you want a good athletic team, you don't know, I don't know where
That's more of a college approach. when my
And
daughter
you
was
hate the
in
kids to
college
have to
band,
be
they
in
had
that.
to do it.
Right.
They did it that way. That's
Right.
what college band.
Right, and we're just too small. And, you know, we're sitting here talking about numbers and, you know, I know one kid that is playing soccer, running cross country, and kicking field goals for the football team.
He's never home.
And he's in band. And I'm pretty sure he's dropping band because of
Oh,
this.
see, I hope not.
And that's sad because our numbers are going down. We used to have a huge band too, you know, but we just,
That was.
I think he's
5 years
crazy,
ago.
but you know,
We
that's
had
his
100.
choice, so, what's that?
We had 100 in the band 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's just, and I said I would mention it, so I'm mentioning it. Yeah, that is, well, and if somehow that the band director can look at the different athletic schedules and say, okay, most of the teams are practicing from 10 to 2, then that's whenever the break is. If you don't have to be in a sport, then that's when we'll watch movies and play games, but the rest of them
Yeah.
can go to their practice. You know,
Adjust it.
try and maybe, and I did talk to Tom McKinnon the other night at the booster meeting, and try and, I know that's hard to do,
I don't even
but,
know when football does their 2-a-day, because that would be a major,
Yeah.
but even working out, you know, one day there, one, you know, do
yeah,
something where it's a happy
something,
medium
and so it
between
doesn't
both.
penalize the kids, because, I mean, more power to them if they're trying to do all of that.
Football, usually.
Yeah, we have-
One or two,
Right.
maybe a few.
Right,
Okay.
so,
Well, that'd be tough.
yeah, I mean, the whole thing is, you know, so you gotta give the kids credit for trying, I mean,
And
that's,
band camp is
especially when you got some that are sitting doing nothing, you know, that, yeah.
It's for a week, band
I
camp?
think it's just a week,
Week, okay.
but,
Okay.
and then, on that, since I mentioned boosters, Tuesday, the shifts changed this year.
What,
Um,
fair?
Yeah, they're gonna be from 8 to 1, 1 to 6, and 6 to 11. So, our administration and school board shift is Tuesday from 1 to 6.
Can you
so-
just throw Fletcher and me on Friday
You're still
again?
gonna do, but are you still able to do, can you do 6 to 11? Or you can
Oh,
just do
Friday
7 to
night?
11 on Friday night, yeah.
You know what, let me just double check, because this is Macy's last year too with showing.
Yeah, check and see.
I'll let you know, I'll send you a text.
What's the date on that for admin, Lisa?
Tuesday, August 25th.
Love the fair.
I have Todd down for cooking. He loves to
No, I
cook.
assist
It depends, who cooked last year?
Anthony.
I was gonna say, Mr. Streeter cut.
Oh, that's right, he did. He had a nice greasy glow when he left.
I bet.
But, and then Brian, you're usually out of town, right? But
I don't know
if
about
you
this year.
can't come at that time,
What-
I have lots of other times that people can fill in, so. 1 to 6
1 to
is our time on Tuesday. And you don't have to be there the whole time, even if you want to split it, do a couple hours. Usually, like, the principals, I tell them if they want to come, you know, like a little bit later, so they don't have to be there the whole time if they're here, and then there, so, but whatever, whoever can be
1 to
there when.
6,
1 to
okay.
6.
We'll be there.
So, that's greatly appreciated by the person who schedules.
It's fun working that booth.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we have a blast. We had a couple last year that I was surprised they had never, Freddie and Tracy Adelman.
Yeah.
They worked and I couldn't get them out of there. I'm like, you guys, it's 11 o'clock. It's time to close the booth. And they're like, but we're having fun. And he's like tall. I kept hitting his head. I thought he was going to hit his head on the vent fan. And I'm like, we're going to have to take him to the hospital. But they just had a ball. It was fun. So yeah. But anyway, any help is appreciated since they do purchase all the uniforms, and so that saves us. So, okay, consent agenda. Do you have anything you want to review before we vote on it?
Yes, I do. I have a few things here. Recommend to approve waiver days for 2015-16 school year, October 19th and February 12th.
We don't have any 2-hour delay waivers, do we? Just full days, correct?
I believe we do have 2-hour delays.
Yeah.
I hate those.
For records, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was 4. I think.
We already approved those?
I thought we did.
They're in the
That
contract.
was, yeah, I mean, that was on the official calendar we got.
Okay, okay. So we don't have to, okay.
All right. Next one, recommend to retain the service of Eastman and Smith on an as-needed per-hour cost basis for the 2015-16 school year. It's just with the masonry issues.
Oh, okay, that's who
Getting
that
those
is.
wound down. C, recommend to accept the resignation of Shar Tooley at St. Joseph School tutor at the end of the 2014-15 school year. Next one, recommend to approve the amending the administrative contract as an elementary school principal to Anthony Streeter effective August 1st, 2015, per the terms and conditions of the contract. Next, recommend to approve the issuance of a 2-year administrative contract as high school principal and curriculum director to Lori Sandell effective August 1st, 2015, per the terms and conditions of the contract. We interviewed a lot of people for that position, and the more we talked, the more I thought how appropriate it would be. I think she's very, very ready, very capable. I've been very impressed with her and excited for her. I think she'll do a great job.
So she comes back, does the high school principal come back same time as the middle school principal, or they come back a week earlier?
No, they come back same time.
They come back same time, so that
Yes.
doesn't affect, okay.
Yep. Recommend to approve the Waterloo High School, Middle School, and Elementary School student handbooks for the 2015-16 school year. Middle school and high school made some changes. I just want to commend the administration for putting the time and I thought they were pretty thorough and detailed with that. I appreciate the work they put into it. There were no changes with the elementary school handbook, as you guys know, but just wanted to point that out. They put some time into that, and I appreciate it. G, recommend to approve the agreement between Robinson Memorial Hospital and Waterloo Local Schools through the program known as the Robinson Rehab Center and Sport Clinic, here referred to as Robinson Rehab Center and Sport Clinic, and the Waterloo School System for the 2015-16 school year. That's just the athletic trainer, bringing the trainer back. Next, recommend to enter into a purchase service agreement between Waterloo Local Schools and Education Alternatives for day treatment services effective July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. This is just an effect of the Portage County ESC closing and us working directly with them. Recommend to issue supplemental contracts to the following for the 2015-16 school year, contingent upon full and complete compliance with the State of Ohio and Waterloo Board of Education eligibility criteria. Kyle Callell, Quiz Bowl Advisor. Eric Simon, Assistant Boys Soccer Coach. Kyle would be at 4%, Eric Simon would be at 6%. And that's all we have.
Todd, do you have anything you need to, other than the flip-flopping of the one? Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions, comments? I have several, sorry. That's why I sent the handbook in there, so you guys, if you want to look at it. Just a couple things that I didn't realize and just wanted to go over real quick. If you get down to page, if you guys...
Which one are you in?
The high school handbook.
Oh, shoot, I don't have it.
Do you want to share with me?
Should I?
Yeah. Sorry.
You know what, I'm just going to be first one.
Okay, if you get down to page 9, the very bottom where it says food and beverage, where it says they're not allowed to have open beverage containers, so they can't bring a coffee cup in, correct? Is that what we're saying? Which is a good thing because our cafeteria is still selling coffee, correct? They're still selling coffee in the mornings?
Thought so.
I know they started that.
At the end of the school year.
Right.
I don't know what the plans are. I heard it was working out well, so I would just assume at this point they're going to continue that as started.
I mean, that would help because we're trying to promote that sort of thing. And I know used to be years ago, kids would bring in coffee cups and, unless you're checking them, you don't know what's really in them. Not that, it's anything but coffee, but,
I would discourage kids from bringing things.
yeah, that's what, I think that's what this does. I believe that's why we wrote
Okay.
this in there.
Okay.
But I just wanted to verify that. Okay. Just mainly a lot of this is just a review. What's the other thing? Lunch periods. On page 10 at the bottom, lunchroom conduct should conform. Lunch periods are closed, which means students are not permitted to leave the building or grounds during the lunch period. Students who do so are subject to, no outside food may be ordered or consumed in the student dining room without permission. Visitors are not prohibited. All that makes sense.
Yes.
Must follow the sign-out procedures in order to use the restrooms. I believe we also said,
This is during lunchtime you're talking about?
yes, I
Okay.
believe we also had said we wanted them to have to sign out to leave the lunchroom at all. If they're going to a classroom to sit down with a teacher or anything. I believe that's what it was, we agreed on last year, so.
Do we have, and this is something I can talk with the high school administration about this, but if we have lunch, teacher monitoring the cafeteria, that makes the job
We do.
a lot
We have
easier. Okay,
We have
all
two.
right. Had a lot of practice with
Yeah.
with those things, so.
I think they get frustrated though, because there's just kids coming and going,
Okay,
so.
okay.
I think my biggest thing is if we're gonna have these policies, we need to follow these policies. It's, it's right there written in black and white, so. It looks like this was changed, I'm assuming that's why this is in bold. So, I believe we discussed signing out for, I don't really like them leaving the lunchroom, period. If they have to go to the bathroom, that's one thing, but I don't like them eating lunch in anywhere, that's why we have a lunchroom. And that just makes it harder on the custodians to have to clean, picking up food everywhere else, so. And it's, it's 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if that's part of the handbook, then
Right,
it's gotta happen.
right. So that's one thing that I thought was supposed to be in there.
Okay.
Driving, okay, where am I at? I'm guessing
Page
parking
12.
permits. Okay, did anybody else read this? Because I did not see anywhere where they have to watch that video, and we keep throwing it back in there, and it keeps popping back out again. Years ago, Brian found a video, and
Well, they
we,
did do it this year, because Jesse.
I know
Yeah,
we
I
did it,
thought
but
we
it's
did
not in here. And that's what, I
I
mean,
could have
it-
swore Jesse got a letter, though, a separate letter that said for the next year. I could have swore. they
Well, when you
sent
go
a
to get
separate-
your pass, you have to,
Watch the video, right?
but it
Yeah.
doesn't say that. It says, I'll find it.
I know what you're saying, because we did have to,
Yeah.
I've seen it written somewhere else, but perhaps it is not in here.
I could have swore we had it in here where it said, because all it says is they have to fill out a form and pay the $15 fee. Oh, somewhere here. Shoot. I know I read it.
It does, it says students who drive or ride with others, blah, blah. Seniors that are scheduled for early graduation must.
There it is, the second sentence, or third sentence, Vicki. Parking permits are issued to those students who complete a form and have parental permission. So it should say they have to watch that video, because, you went to a lot of trouble to get that, and then we've updated it since then, so.
Well, it's just, and it's one of those things that kids are stupid when it comes to driving sometimes, or maybe we'll say forgetful. And as many times as we can
I thought in the.
put in front of them the fact that, really they got their lives and a lot of other lives in their hands. when
I
they
think
got
it
the
might
video.
be in the email that they sent where the changes were gonna be put in. I think it is actually in that email.
Okay.
I'll have to
Yeah.
invest, this is a new
That
one,
might
I
be
haven't
where I
heard
read
this
it.
one, so
I know we still utilize.
Brian's baby.
Story had to do
I'll
with
have
Yeah.
to, I'll have to
Yeah.
investigate this.
Okay.
Okay,
So
I
when it
will.
comes down for filling out the form and things of that nature, the procedures in place at that point.
I'll look into it.
It just doesn't spell out. it goes back to how much detail you want in the
It
handbook.
might be in, so you're saying the
Right.
form says, it's part of the application process.
So you think the application says it on
That's
it?
my guess, because Tori. had
Because
to
Jesse
do it-
brought something,
Jesse
home
brought
this
something.
year, Jesse brought something home, I remember at the end of the school year for this
Next
coming
year.
up year, and that was on it. Because I had to listen to him grumble, why do I gotta do it again? I just did this, I'm like, because you're gonna do it, because that's what they said.
Yeah.
You
So I know I read it somewhere.
I go to a lot of plants, a lot of chemical plants and refineries and construction sites. I must have watched I probably watch
Safety.
75 safety films a year.
I gotta
And
do
they
it with the
take
military
between-
almost every 3 months. They said, oh, I don't have it. It's not updated. Okay,
Some of them
I'll
are
do
an
it
hour,
again.
some of them are half a day. I mean, different safety programs. It's
And I
unbelievable.
grumble just like they do.
Okay, well, we'll
Okay.
get to that.
And then, it says, as far as hall passes, study halls, students with passes are dismissed to the discretion of the supervisor. Students are not allowed to leave study hall to get a pass from a teacher to be considered. All of that, is good. Do we have passes that, like, I don't know, do we have like, this is just a question, it hadn't really, if we have like an actual pass that is visible, that, you know, because you hear, my son has a lot of friends that graduated this year, so they tell me all these stories, and it just frightens me. But I think it should be an actual, if we can, get an actual pass that is visible, so that they know that they got permission from somewhere, instead of someone just, you know, wandering the halls.
Right.
If we can do something like that.
You know, places places where I've been before, there have been some schools who, you know, you actually would have students, you'd issue them a handbook, and the teacher would sign that handbook, and then the child would go out into the hallway with the handbook, so if a teacher saw that student holding a handbook, they knew, okay, all was good. But, you know, the year goes on, and suddenly it's March, and I'm looking around like, what happened to our handbooks? No, you know, there's 4 or 5 kids out in the hallway with no handbook. So we can do that.
I think the middle school.
Having a pass and where kids take it to the restroom, and then they give it back, and then they give it to the next kid.
Yeah, sanitary
That
wise, yeah,
can
you're right.
that can be pretty dicey.
I know the
you
middle school because Javid was got a tardy, or I forget what it was, something, a detention for being late, but in that thing they give him every year, the calendar, he actually was signed out by one teacher, but the other teacher didn't know, or however, so I know they used that, but then it like stopped half the year, I think.
Well, I think that's good though, like the teacher that where they're leaving signs it, and then the teacher where they go signs it, so that when they go back, they know, and
There's
that's fine with me too.
documentation.
And that's not just a high school. I can't tell you how many times, I mean, I'm there probably 3 times a week in the middle school, primary school, and I listen to them sitting behind the desk, talk about a certain student, several times, different students on, well, you know, I gave them a tardy, they said they were here. Well, after I listened to the conversation, 10 minutes went by that this student's missing. I'm like, okay, this is a problem then.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if my own child was missing for that long at one point, when do you yourself as the teacher say, who gave this, you know, where is the student? Until something really crazy happens, and then you're like, oh, we should have probably found that student.
So there's some kind of check and balance as far as, I'm saying that you can go here, and then the teacher never knows if they got there or not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is.
There needs
are
to be
many.
a signing thing, because two
yeah.
teachers like, no, I didn't tell them. Well, indeed, that teacher might have told them, and it was never written down, so it's too easy to say, nope, I didn't tell them.
There are many, I mean, there's many different things you can do. It just takes the, you know, you just got to be
Practice
committed
doing
to
it,
it, and you
yes.
got to stick to it. I mean,
And
that's
after a little bit, it
probably
takes-
the bigger issue here, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
right. Okay, and then the,
More stuff?
oh yeah,
All right,
I got
We've only
more.
just begun.
Dress code.
okay.
This is one of my
I
big
knew that was going
pet
to be in
peeves.
her.
You knew that was coming.
Does anybody need a restroom break? Because it's-
Brian, I'm already halfway through my list, so, okay, where in the heck
Enjoying
is the dress
soccer,
code?
it's a workout over here.
I know. Okay, the dress code, basically,
This-
somewhere
this is
in
what I'm
here
that way.
it's wrong, because I know we went through this last year, and we were very specific about it, and it's wrong in here. It says fingertip length.
Where is it? What page are you on?
It is, I don't know, I'm trying to find it here.
Okay.
Yeah, with the shorts, the girls' shorts.
Skirts, shorts, anything, it's not, we changed it last year, I know, I looked at my notes. It is 4 inches above the knee.
Dress
It is
code
not
29.
fingertip length.
Page 29.
Did you find it?
Yep. It says short skirts, dresses, the determining length of appropriate clothing must be no shorter than fingertip length.
Yes, and that is
even when
wrong.
seated.
Okay.
So that has to be.
Well, obviously, we can't, I mean, obviously, we're not going to be able to accept the handbooks then. We're going to have to go back.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then the other one was, yoga pants aren't in here anywhere. So are spandex biker pants the same thing as yoga pants?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But, I mean, if you
Just
want us,
checking.
but if you want us to, you know, if we need to verbalize.
If we're gonna
yoga
change it
pants,
anyway,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's the same thing, I'd rather write yoga pants than spandex biker
Okay.
pants. But that's me personally, you guys can decide that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, we're gonna need, we're listing a lot of things here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna need
I
to go
know.
back and
So we
fix
have
it.
to make sure we have a consensus before we just.
Right.
We
Exactly.
have to let Sean,
I'm giving you mine, and you guys
No.
can give them yours.
yeah.
Tell them. We can, well, why don't we do a summary
I
when
mean,
we're
you know
done?
what, here, and I would like, well, this is something we can talk about later. It would be, you know, I mean, if you share these with, then I can talk to those guys and say, hey, you know, go back again, try it again.
Okay. And then, and I know there's been a change in,
Yeah, well, that's
So-
understandable.
and then the one thing, okay, wait, just, I gotta read my own writing. There were a couple of things, all this was, there were a couple of things that was real small. Is that just on this?
Yeah, I think it is on that. 'cause
Okay.
I didn't.
Now, this handbook says 2014, 2015.
Yes, so it needs to be changed
Yeah, I
too.
noticed that.
Okay.
It would, yeah,
I was
we
gonna say,
would.
maybe we're looking at the, okay.
That's what I was thinking too.
No, I
That
thought
was gonna
same
be
thing,
my
the
final
width,
thing,
right, okay.
was
Okay.
that, but I
That's an
mean,
easy one there.
yeah. And then the only other thing I had on that was in the middle school handbook.
Okay,
It does not say, it doesn't have tights and leggings, like on here,
Mm-hmm.
it says, da-da-da-da-da-da.
So are we done with high school?
Yes.
And we're adding yoga pants, is that the,
Well, he's gonna go over it here in a minute, probably.
what do you think? I'm sorry, John, yoga pants.
He already told us
Oh,
the
I-
last thing, he is not a fan of it.
yeah, I'm not a fan, not a fan. I have, you know, 4 daughters, so, I mean, kids wear them at basketball games, football games, and wear them, you know, in the malls or whatever, but school is, it's not appropriate.
So can they wear them to school, to basketball, football games?
You know what,
A little harder to police.
I have not, in my
That's not
long
affecting
career
their
as
learning.
administrator, I have not, I've allowed that a little bit, some more
I don't see
leeway
that being
there
much
that.
Because it doesn't affect their time.
Yeah, when they're in
Classroom.
school, I mean, in my mind, this is a professional place where the expectations are, you're preparing them for the next level. That, you know, dress code is part of that. You go to a job, dress code is part of your job. So that is part of that. Now, you go to a game, you go to the mall, you have fun with friends, you know, you want to wear your yoga pants, knock
So
yourself out.
So we probably shouldn't do yoga and gym this year, right?
But they did wear yoga pants, did they? Did they?
Actual yoga,
Yeah, we did
wearing
we did a
yoga
week of
pants.
Yoga and gym. Are we gonna
Well, I
do that
guess we
this
need
year?
to police the staff too then.
You can
I
probably
mean,
do
it's one
yoga
thing
without
we're
yoga
part of,
pants. Lord.
Class possibly
Class,
versus
Lord.
wearing them
I don't
around.
know. I don't know. If we're outlaw them, we should outlaw them.
Anyway,
What do you think?
so are you guys okay with all the things that I said?
Well, hold
Yes.
on, you didn't answer my question.
I mean, there are things that we'd already discussed.
You can do yoga without yoga pants.
Huh?
I'm sorry, what was the middle school handbook concern again?
We're not to that yet, Brian.
I just want
Let's
to know,
finish the
are we
hand-
gonna do yoga and gym class this year? Are we gonna allow that to happen? Or are we gonna say, no, you can do it, but don't wear yoga pants?
That was in middle school, or was that in primary
Middle
school?
Last year.
I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll get to that when we get to
My,
middle school.
I mean, my vote would be no, you don't need to, you
There.
can still do yoga, you don't need to wear yoga
Superintendent
pants
said
to do
no.
yoga. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lisa's not the bad person.
I don't care, I'll be the bad person.
All right, let's.
Okay, as far as middle school, the only thing I saw in middle school was, because I thought last year we really spent a lot of time trying to make them consistent with each other.
Yes.
So that,
I saw that, I can see
so
that.
that, you know, all that. And so all of those need to match up with middle school. The only thing on here that didn't, that was additional to that was in the high school, on the high school one, they say, not lost it again. Leggings must be worn with short skirts or dresses that meet the appropriate guidelines for length.
Okay.
That's not in the middle school. So that needs to be added to the middle school one.
Okay, say that one more time. What number is that?
The top of page
if they're wearing
30.
leggings, it has to be the okay, I got you.
It doesn't have that line at all in the middle school,
Okay,
yes.
so include that.
Yes, it doesn't have
Okay.
that line at all in the
Okay.
middle school, so I can hop back, but, I mean, most of those need to be in the middle school too.
Sweater.
Yoga pants and all that
is
need to all be.
appropriate.
Please
Yeah.
don't shoot you an email with all these.
Here,
He has them all
got it.
written
there's
Yeah.
the notes
down.
right there.
I got them
You
all.
said it's on page 30, right?
What, yeah, top of page 30. It's on the high school one, but if you look in the middle school one, that line isn't there anywhere.
Yours is blank. Yours is blank.
Okay. Was that it?
Mine has, so it's not-
You guys
Yeah.
have more? Is that more?
No, that's all I had as far as that goes, yeah.
Well, I guess.
Sorry, guys, but
You were quick this year.
last year, I literally printed them all three out, laid them all three out, and this is my
See, I
thing.
thought maybe I missed something.
Discipline and dress
because
code are my
I didn't see
things.
her do this, so I was like, oh, we must have already agreed to everything.
This is why I like Dropbox. This is why all these things are on your computers, because I'm like, oh, I gotta have that there, so.
You know, there's
Yeah.
a process that can be used that we can implement, so we don't have to do it right here and now. We can take care of that. It'll be better next time.
I think Jesse or one of them, David, has the handbook actually sitting on the counter. He probably, he cleaned his bag out for Cedar Point the last couple of days, and it was sitting there. I was like, oh, Lisa must have been through this already. When did I agree to all this?
No, not yet.
Well,
So, sorry, but I mean, if I would've had time to do it earlier, but when it's that many things, you really
Yeah.
can't converse with everybody, so it was just.
Understandable, that's fine.
And, you know, it's been, I know it's been a busy couple weeks for you,
Yeah,
so.
we'll
But
get it- we'll get
just
it
so
right.
you know, I did the same thing last year, and it took probably 3 times as long. So, you made.
we're getting better.
So, yeah, you're good to go.
It took like over 2 hours.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm this is my thing. I want discipline, and if we're gonna write it down, I want people to follow it. If it's not written in there, then they don't need to follow it. If it's written in there, it needs to be followed. It's the simplest way to succeed, in my opinion, to me as a board member, is to do what's written that we pass, so.
I'm right there with you.
So, it's a very
No
simple
argument from
thing.
me.
So,
We
okay.
just need to do this a little bit. We'll do it better.
Well,
Hopefully. Maybe.
once
we need to
it's,
go
once it's
back
good,
to-
it's good. So next month, we'll have to
Do we need to make a,
bring it next month, and then we'll approve it next
Okay.
month.
So we have to vote to
but
remove it.
don't we have
right?
to, yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Okay.
Okay.
With the exception of, is what else, is
We'll
what
approve
we
the
said.
consent agenda with the exception of item E. I mean, I'm
Yes.
sorry, recommend except for
Yeah.
item.
Okay, so now we have to go back and,
Which one was that? That was
F,
F? Okay.
yes.
No, we're fine. I mean,
We're okay?
we'll just, I'll make the note here, right
Okay.
under, right under the discussion that we had on the handbooks.
Okay.
That, after that, approve the consent agenda, removing item F.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, all right. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Terry? Yes. Wilsey?
Yes.
Gump?
Yes,
Broad?
Yes.
motion passes. See, you guys thought you'd get out of here quicker without an executive session. Didn't happen.
Do we have an executive
Okay,
session?
nope. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Sure. So moved.
Diane
Yeah.
and Vicky, second by
I got
Vicky.
signatures to go get out there.
With no sign of ascension, we are adjourned at 7:43.
Yep. Record-breaking meeting right there,
Great.
guys.
Boy, I like you already, Sean.
What's that?
I like you already.
All right.
An hour.
I better turn this thing off.
An hour and a half? Okay, no, I still like it. Whether it's on or not, I like it.
How many signatures